ready for the green flag in the Aaron's 312. 43 drivers and their cars rolling off the pit lane onto the Atlanta Motor Speedway, set to begin the longest race of the NASCAR Busch Series season, the Aaron's 312. Now, because qualifying was postponed by rain yesterday, the field lined up according to provisions in the NASCAR rulebook. Top 35 are owner points, followed by qualifying attempts, former winners, former champions, and that kind of thing. While you look at the grid, I'll tell you that some of the Winston Cup hot dogs, like, say, Mikey Waltrip, are pinned pretty far back in the field.
Well, let's just talk to Michael Waltrip and see what he thinks about that. Michael Waltrip, Benny Parsons, you got me?
I got you, Benny. You got me. They're having trouble hearing me.
Yeah, the radio doesn't sound too good, but you're starting 32nd. Any concerns about that?
Just those other 31 guys ahead of me. Other than that, not really. The Aaron Street machine was great at practice. The Aaron Street 12, you know, I need to win it. We had this car in one race so far. It set on the pole and ran second in Charlotte. So we're expecting a good result today.
Hey, Michael, how does it feel to represent the sponsor of the race? You got to do good.
It feels great to have a sponsor like Aaron's, man. They're my partner more than my sponsor. We decide when we're going to race, where we're going to race, what we're going to do together, and it's just really a rewarding feeling to have such a corporate partner like I do in Aaron. Plus, they got DW doing commercials. Benny, you seen him?
Yeah, I did see him. He looks awfully good doing that.
Not as good as you did laid up in that big race car last week, taking a few laps. How'd that feel just back behind the wheel?
Well, it's pretty cramped in there, Michael.
Okay, I'd like to tell you a few reasons why that might be, but we'll get with you on that later.
I'd appreciate that very much, buddy. Good luck to you.
Fun calling the race today.
Good luck, Michael.
Always an adventure. Get set to go green. And let's check some storylines we'll follow throughout the Aaron's 312. Speed and experience.
As we talked about, 15 drivers racing in their first Atlanta race. And folks, it's different driving into a corner at 170 miles per hour than 200 miles per hour. A lot different.
Now, let me see if I can get this straight. Whether the weather will wait or weather will wait on the weather. Very good.
Never.
That?
Oh, yes. Because there is clouds, there is rain nearby, as there has been, seems like, for the last 2 months.
Keller took a chunk of points off of Greg Biffle in last Sunday's race at Memphis. Can he do it again today? Pretty much needs to. 105-point difference and 4 races to go.
Grooving in Atlanta. I think we'll see that high groove today during the race.
I think we'll, too, because even as cool as it is, some of those cars will not be handling well enough to hang on the bottom.
Yet, because of the rain and things, there's not a lot of rubber in the upper groove. Somebody's got to go put it up there at some point. How about Michael Waltrip? He'll be one to move up there pretty fast.
What did that say? We did the math?
Yeah, that's a play on the Aaron's commercial with Michael and Darrell. A lot of onboard views for you today and a lot of miles. 312.62 miles to be specific. 203 laps around the 1.54-mile Atlanta Motor Speedway. 43 drivers chasing one victory. And the championship contenders are on the front row. It's Greg Biffle bringing the field down for the start. And we're ready to go at Atlanta. Leads. Jeff Green has jumped to second. Scott Whitmer third. Jason Keller shuffled in that outside row back to fourth.
That is a good shot right there.
That is a great shot. And to show you just how fast these cars are at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
That is not an exaggeration.
TV lingo, we call that a speed shot.
It is a speed shot.
Very good name for it. Back in traffic, Randy LaJoie, Jamie McMurray, 7 and 27. This is for 9th and 10th. And Hamilton Jr. just behind them in the 25 car. He was pretty fast in that brief practice that they had yesterday. Hamilton Jr. On board Jamie McMurray. Going to run up across the 10 car of Scott Riggs just in front of them. He just had a big whoops up in turn 2. Almost caught the wall coming off that corner. Riggs in 7th place in that 10 car. And that's Kenny Wallace in the Stacker 2 machine working the bottom of the speedway. You have black number 48. Challenge for the lead.
Jeff Green, the 21 car, is closed in on Biffle, goes by and takes the lead. And looks like that the 23 car of Wimmer is going to follow.
8th NASCAR Busch Series race in Atlanta for Jeff Green. First lap he's ever led. That one. One of the things that Michael is really happy about with his Busch Series team operation this year, Bobby Kennedy, the crew chief on this 99 car, and Slugger Labby, the crew chief on his Winston Cup car, really communicate well together. The two of them really talk a lot back and forth and share notes and try and make it all work together to both their benefits.
And that's the way it should be, because he's doing this, number one, to start himself his own team, but number two, to learn something for Sunday. Jimmy Spencer, we see the one car behind these guys has moved up the racetrack a little bit. Spencer is in the 15th position, started 29th.
And Michael's staying down the bottom of the racetrack. He's usually one of the guys that's the first to the top of the racetrack, Denny, but he keeps them left side tires on a white line through the corners right now.
Yeah, he wins that race almost every track we go to. If the groove is going to move high, he's the first one up there. But look at those guys. We see Kevin LePage, Ryan LaJoy, both those guys higher on the track through the corners than Michael Waltrip.
Michael after Randy for 11th place here. While you watch this, a moment ago while Hank Parker Jr. was taking his car off the track into the garage, here's what he told the crew about what happened in that incident with Brian Vickers.
Right up on me when Kerry did that. Took the air right off of me and just got it loose. Almost corrected it, but there just wasn't enough room for 3-1.
I think the replay showed just exactly that. The car wiggled and then got up in the groove into the car.
Yep.
And they're working on it. Matty?
Well, guys, Jeff Green just told his crew chief, Butch Hilton, that the rain is getting heavier, especially off turn 2. He's fighting a free race car as it is, Wally, and a lot more rain could make that race car even freer.
Yeah, they're all going to get real free here in a minute if it starts getting a little bit more wet.
And like we talked about in final practice, this track is so fast, it's not one you want to mess around with.
You really don't. I mean, it's tough to have a free race car here at Atlanta. I mean, you want it to be, I think, a little bit tight, because free race car here is terrifying getting in the corners. You're carrying so much speed getting down in these corners.
200 miles per hour, pretty close, somewhere between 190 and 200 miles per hour. Going down the corner about right there, and the car feels like it's going to spin out. And Michael's up where we thought he would be, to that high groove. Now he's going to drive down to the inside. Wow, good move.
Nice little crossover there, huh? Caution is out. Rain. Caution for rain.
No, I can't believe it's raining during the race. That's so unusual.
All right, wait a minute now. This is not the caution for rain. This is the lap 25 caution. My apologies.
Come on, Alan.
Well, I'm
gee whiz, just concerned walling out of no end.
By way of explanation, please. I do monitor NASCAR's radio channel that they communicate to all the inspectors with, and it's been non-stop for about the last 10 laps, checking with the spotters at all the corners of the racetrack about the raindrops.
So what you're saying is you cannot chew gum and walk at the same time.
Yeah.
I can't talk with you and listen to them at the same time. Anybody else in the world, I'm okay, but not you.
Okay, let's see.
All right, let's see who comes in, BP.
Well, most of these guys got to come in and get checked out, make those adjustments and all that stuff, because there is some rain there, though.
Well, a little more rain on the helicopter.
Fine, thank you. Now you give me credit for that.
Oh, no, I won't give you any credit. I can see it, and I believe it. If I see it, I believe it. If Alan says it, I question it.
Pit road is not open.
Yeah, pace car didn't get the field first time by. The pace car opens pit road.
And we see the pace car is not in front of Jeff Green. There's nothing but space there.
NASCAR.com, the official source for the latest in NASCAR, including
naming the bus.
Naming the bus. We did that on NASCAR.com, and I'm sure we'll come up with another project with them shortly.
Benny, it looks like there may be some rain on the racetrack
Really?
right now.
I wonder
Oh,
if
my goodness. Look at this on
I can
Greg
see it on the
Biffle.
lens.
Yes, I can too.
Of course, we'll wait for an official report on this. Alan's not going to talk anymore.
Are you done? I can take this kind of abuse elsewhere. Tomorrow, NASCAR in-car on in-demand, 5 in-car camera channels, virtual dashboards, real-time in-car data, live team audio, that and more at 1-888 Sports In, only on digital cable.
You know, this is unbelievable because this is the kind of weather we've seen here in November.
Yeah.
And Ed Clark and all the folks at the Speedway said, let's move the race forward to October. It's the driest month of the year. So now, pit road is open, and here they all come.
Driest month of the year, except this weekend.
Except this weekend.
In 2002. Let's cover some pit stops, Dave.
Last week's winner, Scott Wimmer, is coming in. His car was a little bit loose. He asked the crew to take air pressure out of each front tire that they put on and also give him a track bar adjustment. They will go down on that track bar. Matt?
Dave, Jeff Green was free all the way around, so crew chief Busch Hilton will fix the race car with air pressure. Half a pound out of the right front, half a pound in the right front, half a pound out of the right rear. To Marty.
Greg Biffle running third right now, Matt. The car started loose. It got tighter the longer he ran. They added rubber to the right rear. They also put a pound of air pressure in the right rear. He will lose some spots on pit road to a host of cars.
Was that Mikey that came out in second spot?
Yeah, and it was Tony Raines that came first off pit road.
Wow.
So I want to check and see if he got 4 tires or maybe just 2.
There's Tony Raines. And Michael. Jeff Green. And then Biffle. So he goes back to fourth. And Randy LaJoy.
All right, had some guys make some strategy plays on this round of pit stops. Matt, how about it?
Well, Alan, when you look at the championship chase, Jason Keller's team isn't taking any chances. In fact, they've gone to their corporate teammates, the Yates Racing Team, to borrow Dale Jarrett's Winston Cup pit crew. They feel like their pit stops have been one of their biggest hindrances, standing between themselves and a Busch Series championship. So for the final 4 races, the UPS guys will pit Jason Keller's Ford. Today,
Matt, the 99 car of Michael Waltrip came in. They changed 2 right side tires and made an air pressure adjustment. So I asked crew chief Bobby Kennedy what was wrong with the car. And Bobby said, nothing. We're just trying to screw it up. No, really, what we're doing is that we're trying to see if taking a little air pressure out of the right side tires now helps keeping the car from getting too loose later on. It's an experiment. If it doesn't work, they'll go back to what they had. Marty?
They have no real strategy on Greg Biffle's stop this last time. They decided to go with 4 tires. The one thing they did do, however, the car extremely tight. They took the time to put a rubber in the right rear. That's, a big change. It also takes time. They did lose 1 spot on pit road, but they will see if it makes the car better. Greg said the car was just too tight to drive into the corners and just slide the nose all over the place.
Greg Biffle running 6th now. Jason Keller 11th. 105 the gap between the 2 to start the race. And we are coming to the green. Brian Vickers is the leader. First laps he's ever led in a NASCAR Busch Series race. Did not stop under this caution. Johnny Sauter is second. Did not stop under this caution. Then Tony Raines, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Green, and Greg Biffle.
I tell you, Michael Vickers in this 40 car was very fast. And we see the 2 car of Sauter go up the hill. Tony Raines dove to the inside, and the caution flag is out.
Caution for rain. And this time I waited until I heard them say it was for rain.
Oh, I can see it on the camera, so I didn't have to wait for you.
Okay, guys, just easy now. It's raining. Calm down.
And we're not past halfway, so.
How far is halfway?
What's that?
How far is halfway?
101 and a half laps.
101 and a half.
You know, Brian Vickers, I was talking, he was good in practice the other day. This 40 car was fast.
Brian Vickers leads the field down to the green. Waltrip, the big jump to the outside of Tony Raines on the restart, and to Vickers.
Boy, Mikey got himself a start, didn't he?
Well, that's experience to the unexperienced right there.
Look at Vickers coming back on the inside in that 40 car.
Look at that Dale Earnhardt Incorporated horsepower at the top end of the backstretch. Leading by a nose on that lap. And Jeff Green underneath Raines for third.
Meanwhile, we've got a, what do you call it, a gaggle of cars. Trying to determine position down the backstretch, 2, 3 wide.
Whoa.
Oh.
Johnny Sauter backed up there in the 2.
I think Johnny not taking those tires is feeling the effect right now.
Josh Richardson in the 11, one of the drivers, 15 in this race, who've never run a NASCAR Busch Series event here before.
He is going straight to the back.
Second place, Jeff Green working on Michael Waltrip. Couple of Owensboro, Kentucky, longtime friends. Okay, so they said they let some air pressure out of the right sides they put on Michael's car. And he's probably going to radio back in and say, next time,
let's don't do that. Yeah, that was not a good move, guys. But again, they need to run them a few laps because, after all, he has used left sides and new rights. The 40 car didn't stop. At least all of his 4 tires are the same.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a few more laps for Michael to determine whether that was the right move or not.
Greg Biffle to the outside of Michael Waltrip. This would be for third place.
Because your pressures are going to be built up in your left sides, and if you put new right sides on, your air pressure is going to be down to begin with, so it's going to take a while for that to balance out.
Farther back, Mike McLaughlin, 18. Inside of Randy LaJoie in the 7. 9th place there. Joe Nemechek in the 87 coming along. We talked about him on the pace laps. He started back in 34th place.
And here comes Jeff Green, the 21 car, trying to take the lead from Brian Vickers. And the 19-year-old wisely backs up.
Now, Jeff was the first car that took forward, wasn't he?
Yes.
On that deal, so he's got it.
Dave, what's Brian Vickers saying about his car now?
Well, he just radioed in, guys, that the car's getting a little bit tied off, but on his behalf this weekend is a new spotter for him. Tim Overby, who normally spots for Kevin Harvick in the Winston Cup Series, is the voice from up above, so he's been a big help to Brian this weekend in getting him up to speed here at Atlanta.
And here we see maybe Michael's tires coming around right now. Car looks like it's bottoming it out there, getting in one.
And the spark that you saw was, as Wally said, ooh, a little close off the second corner.
And Biffle going to make it 3 wide, the big charge. Michael Waltrip with the block. Here comes Scott Wimmer. Second black car there in the frame. Last weekend's winner at Memphis for Bill Davis. So Mikey finally got by Vickers.
The yellow car behind, Scott Riggs. There he is.
Scott started in 9th. He's running 6th now. As Willie makes the pass on Vickers, that'll be for 3rd. And here comes Biffle and Riggs. One up high, one down low. That's one of the great things about this racetrack. You can run all over it.
Yeah, it used to not be that way. You know, when it was freshly paved, this place, you had to be on the bottom, and you didn't dare get off the bottom groove. But now that it's weathered a little bit, it's turning into a really good racetrack.
And that's what everyone's hoping that's going to happen to Kansas and Chicagoland and all these racetracks that are recently built. As soon as they get some weather on it, they'll be all over the racetrack like these guys are here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Scott Riggs by Vickers for 5th place. Now Jack Sprague on the hunt, 24 car. And here comes Nemechek also. Been talking about once this race gets closer to halfway, where fuel is concerned and different things, how that might play out. Some of the teams are thinking about it already. This is what Greg Biffle had to say moments ago. Check that. This is a pre-race strategy thought from Greg Biffle.
Definitely fuel mileage is a big concern of ours, and pit strategy, you know, and then of course weather. You know, it could rain past halfway and trap a guy that just made a pit stop, or work into a guy's favor that didn't stop on a particular caution, and not knowing that's coming. Kind of get blindsided by that by 10 spots or better. And that could take a chunk out of your points.
That's brutal. I mean, trying to win a championship and get in a situation where weather can come in and ruin everything is just...
You know what, BP? Them skies are looking pretty good. They're the best they've been all day.
It does look good right now. And we see no rain. The best part, we see no rain on the windshield of the Granger car. Battle for the lead. Mikey, he's got those 4 tires matched up now, air pressure matched up, and here he goes.
How about that?
Yeah, like I said, it takes a while for those things to balance out. So you have to hang on to it a little bit for the first 10 or 15 laps, but if they come around like they do now, it's a smart move.
Most importantly, we are closing in on halfway. Which, by the way, for this race, since it's 203 laps, will be at 101 1/2 laps. The race will become official.
Can you get any more specific?
Well, actually, I can. At this 1.54 mile track, it would be 100 laps and 4,065 feet, 7 1/4 inches.
Thank you.
Okay, 4,050. That's more information we needed, I think. Mike Wallace, the 4 car. 1 lap down.
Kevin LePage has taken his car to the garage. Engine failure, he'll be out for the day. Jack Sprague is done for the day. And Kerry Earnhardt has been treated and released from the infield care center after his crash. What? You had that smart aleck look about your face.
No, I was just going to say, we should have Bill Weber look that up so,
so
they don't have to.
Yeah.
Just to back it up.
Yeah. Championship leaders. Well, that's Bobby Hamlin Jr. going by Jason Keller.
And Greg Biffle, I think during our commercial break, Biffle passed Keller. He's up to the 5th position, and that puts Keller back to 7th. Jason Keller and Steve Anderson talking about on the radio.
Well, Benny, the conversation is coming more from his spotter, Shannon McGlamory. They're telling Jason, they're explaining to him how the other cars in the racetrack are entering the corner high and then staying high through the corner. Jason, they felt like he would duck out a little too early, so he's trying to change his lane and his line to see if that will help him on the stopwatch. So far, it appears like it is.
That time he ran just through the bottom of the racetrack like he's been doing.
Yeah, he may have tried it once and not felt comfortable with it. He's right, BP. He's right down back at the bottom again.
And you see the gap up to his championship rival, Greg Biffle, who's now running in 5th place while Keller is back in 7th. Talked with Greg Biffle earlier this weekend about racing Jason for the championship.
I hate Jason Keller as a competitor. He's such a good one. Now, Jason Keller is the best racer I've ever raced against. And, I mean, he's a great guy, fair racer, you know, and he's a, honest guy to race with. And it's a lot of fun racing with him. You know, I just hope that we can stay in front of him.
He's a great guy, but I want to beat him.
That's terrible, too.
And I'm sure that Jason Keller would say the same thing. What do you think, Marty?
Well, I think it's the same old story, guys. Whoever wins the championship is going to be the guy who has the least trouble. It happened to Greg Biffle last week in Memphis, kind of his own doing. But if you take his last 18 races, he has some incredible finishing averages. Now it includes a 42nd at Michigan, a 17th at Dover, and the 34th last week. But in the last 18 races, his average finish is 7.7 for Greg Biffle. That's unbelievable, especially with those 3 bad finishes. And it's hard to beat that kind of consistency when you're trying to win a championship.
Talked a couple of times about Greg Biffle's troubles last Sunday at Memphis. Lap 203, trying to put a lap on the Lowell Bennett car in turn 1 on the Memphis short track. Curtains down. race over. He had led 103 of the 203 laps to that point.
And, you know, when they interviewed Greg, he was fairly honest. He said, what happened? He said, I don't know. I don't know if I cut too soon or if the guy didn't cut soon enough that I was trying to pass Lowell Bennett. Habit of really cutting those guys off really short going down in the corner.
And that one turned out to be pretty costly.
And that was costly because he had a dominant car last week. Yeah. Terrific car.
Cost him 63 points of his lead. The advantage was 105 coming in today. Running 2 positions ahead of Jason Keller now. And again, counting this race, 4 to go to settle the Busch Series championship. Second place, Scott Riggs in the 10 underneath Greg Biffle. Not quite. But that doesn't mean he won't try again.
And he goes by Biffle to take over that second spot. I think that was a championship decision on Greg Biffle's part, just to move up the racetrack. Don't run down on the bottom of the racetrack with the other cars because someone, you may have to jump off the throttle, someone running the back of you, get away from those cars.
Benny, you're a Winston Cup champion. You know, you see football teams go into the prevent defense and all of a sudden give up a lot of points in a hurry. What about a race driver going into the prevent defense where points are concerned in the championship? Well, how about this?
Scott Riggs going, has anybody passed Michael Waltrip all day?
In the first few laps on a run.
Riggs just did it. Now,
let's see if he can stay out there for a while.
Back to your question. I think that right now Greg Biffle and those guys are in a prevent defense. I really do, but they're up front. They're close enough to the front to do that. And the guy that they're racing is behind them.
Yeah, I think that's the car he's concerned about. Is he's looking up in the mirror to see where Jason Keller is. That's the only one he's worried about right now.
Well, Jason Keller was one of the guys that topped off the fuel on that last caution. They must be pretty happy about that down on pit road. Matty, what do you think?
Let's talk to Steve Addington, the crew chief. Can your car go the distance without having to stop?
Well, we will see how this thing plays out here. Get a caution here quick. We'll see what happens. How many laps? It's going to be close.
How close is it, do you think? How many times have you worked the numbers?
It's right there within a couple of laps either way.
It is close either way. That would make a 75-lap run to the finish.
A couple laps either way.
And, you know, again, people monitor the TV broadcast. They monitor the radio broadcast. They monitor NASCAR. They monitor the other teams. And Steve Addington did not want to play his hand out in front of all the other teams and let them hear him say, I can make it or I can't make it.
Jason Keller just took 6th place away from Mike McLaughlin.
Well, I can shed a little light possibly on whether or not Jason Keller might be able to make it the rest of the way because his teammate Scott Riggs thought about coming down pit road and topping off. His crew chief Harold Holly said, nope, we're going to be about 4 laps short. So that's his teammate. You would think they would get fairly close fuel mileage, so that, you know, may be a big risk for Jason Keller.
You never know. You don't know what gear they're running. There's a lot of variables there that play into the fuel mileage thing. Although their teammates, you know, that the car may be a little bit slicker on the body, might be getting better fuel mileage that way. What do you think, Matt?
Well, a lot depends on driving style. Winston Cup, we know that Jeff Gordon gets better fuel mileage in the 48, his teammate, but also with the 10 and the 57. The 57 tends to usually get better gas mileage, just difference in driving style. Sometimes some guys are really hard on the gas, sometimes they float it off the corner, and Keller does seem to get a little better fuel mileage on a consistent basis than his teammate.
If any of those cars stop that's trying to make it the rest of the way, if they brake, use the brake pedal with their right foot, they've got a chance. If they use their left foot to brake the car, then that's going to hurt them because you can't imagine how many times that your right foot and your left foot pass each other going down in the corner. You're braking on the same time that you're on the throttle. Here comes Nemechek, battle for the 3rd position with Biffle.
Just to back up to Keller there for a second, you hear him have to lift off the gas coming out of turn 2 while we're on board there?
I think he almost lost it by the look of the camera there, and Looks like he got a little bit loose there and had to catch it.
Nemechek digging down low. Biffle running that higher line off turn 2. New leader in the Aaron's 312, Michael Waltrip, made one of the most incredible charges I've seen this season. He was a second and a half back and erased it all in 3 laps.
And just blew by Scott Riggs. And right now, Riggs is in the battle with Joe Nemechek for the 2nd position.
There was the pass. I mean, when his, just like we've seen twice already today, when his tire pressures or whatever it was came up to where he needed them to be, goodbye. And there's the battle for 2nd BP was talking about, with Riggs in the 10 trying to hold off Nemechek in the 87. On the lap car of Chad Chaffin, Joe Nemechek, the defending winner of this race. In that 87 car, led 98 laps on his way to victory lane last season. 2 third-place finishes his last 2 races out in this 87 car for Nemechek. Nebraska, Texas A&M. Good one on TBS tonight. Big play Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern time from College Station.
And the 87 car pitted. I guess he has visions of making it the rest of the way. Let's talk to Brian Patty down there and see what he has to say. Dave?
Well, BP, I did that for you just a moment ago, and I said to Brian Patty, the crew chief, how close are you? And he said, close enough that we're not stopping.
There you go.
Man.
Well, why would they? I mean, this isn't a team that runs for the championship. They don't run all the races. The only thing they're here for is to win.
For one thing, you're right, to try to win the race.
But they had to be close to begin with. You know,
yeah, what that make that lap or 2.
Remember the situation in the Winston Cup race here last fall? Jerry Nadeau, halfway down the backstretch on the final lap with a big lead and runs out of gas.
And the thing is with Joe, he came in a lap earlier than those other 5 or 6 cars that came in a top off.
A caution flag lap, though.
Yeah.
So you're not burning a whole lot of gasoline on one caution flag lap,
dumping some out, too.
But he got a lot of position. See, and not having to pass those 4 or 5 cars that pitted the lap after he did saved him some gasoline. He's able to run around the racetrack in line now. He's trying to pass Scott Riggs right now, which is wasting a little bit of fuel, but he doesn't have to try to pass McLaughlin and Bobby Hamilton, Jamie McMurray, those other guys.
Coming up on 250 miles in this race.
I don't know. I think I'd stay right where he is.
And draft.
Yep.
Six caution flags so far.
Pretty close.
Pretty close to the fence right there for the 87 car of Nemechek.
And only 9 cars on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip, Scott Riggs, Joe Nemechek. Greg Biffle, Jason Keller, Mike McLaughlin, Jamie McMurray, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and Shane Neal, who started last, by the way. Those are the 9 cars on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip has blistered this field today. Middle section of this race, he checked out on everybody. Had a, what did I say? It was like a 9-second lead on 2nd place just before that last caution came out.
It's like Joe's losing the handling a little bit there. He's sliding around quite a bit. See, Jeff Green there, a 21 car. Unfortunately, he's 2 laps down because of that tire problem he had.
And that's what Michael Waltrip, as good as his car is right now, as far in front of all these other cars, he's got to really pay attention to his focus. Make sure that his mind doesn't start wondering about how he's going to thank his sponsor and all that stuff in victory lane.
2nd place here. 10 cars. Scott Riggs has it. The 87 of Nemechek is trying to get it. 21 of Jeff Green is a couple of laps down. 18th place. Made a green flag pit stop. Then a caution came out.
Get it.
So whatever Nemechek felt was wrong, he's gotten over or talked himself through anyway. And Jeff Green coming to pit road.
And Mike McLaughlin has gone by Biffle. Move into the 4th position. There he is.
I'm telling you what, this is going to get interesting to see if any of these guys can make it on fuel. Michael Waltrip, the leader, heads for pit road. 14 laps to go now for Michael. Dave?
And Mark Paris is the fueler who will put it in there for a count of 1,001, 1,002 from crew chief Bobby Kennedy. He leaves. That should be all the fuel he needs to get to the end.
And I'll tell you something else they have to make sure of is when they're doing these splash and dashes, don't take that fuel can outside the pit box, still connected to the race car.
And don't speed on pit road. Pit road speed 45 miles per hour. And after you've been running 170, 80, 190 miles per hour, that seems like you're walking.
Michael Waltrip has led 114 of the 190 laps that have been run. May not get to lead the last one if anybody else can make it on fuel. Dave?
The 5 car of David Green on and off pit road for a splash and dash. They were running 12 just a lap off the pace, and this is David Green's 250th career start. But you know what? He wouldn't even be in this car if it hadn't been for a test here at this track by driver Ricky Hendrick, who that day decided to hang up his racing helmet.
Now, you know, something we got to keep an eye on, too, is if somebody runs out of gas and doesn't make back to pit lane, that'll bring the yellow out. That'll change a lot.
You mean like Mark Green there?
Like Mark Green, but he's coming off turn 4, so it looks like he's going to make it. And Scott Riggs is on pit road, the car in second spot. Marty, coming to you.
Yeah, he is, BP, and they actually considered putting on some tires here, but then Harold Hawley thought better of that. This is just going to be a splash and go for the man that's in second place. Again, trying to get his first top 5 since Kentucky in June. They need 3 seconds of fuel, and that's it. They clean the grill a little bit. 1, 2, 3. There he goes. That's 3 seconds of fuel. They never can make it the rest of the way.
Joe Nemechek now the leader. 87 car up by 3 3/4 seconds on Mike McLaughlin.
And I tell you what, Mike McLaughlin in that 18 car has been very fast here in the last 15, 20 laps.
Now we're down to everybody that's left. I shouldn't say that. Hang on. Biffle hasn't stopped yet.
McLaughlin hasn't stopped.
Yeah, but I was going to say, we're down to the guys who topped off the fuel, except for Biffle.
I got you.
Michael Waltrip pitted. He had not topped off the fuel. Riggs pitted. He hadn't topped off. So once Biffle stops, then we're down to the guys who took the splash. And
we're trying to make it.
And we're counting laps. That's right. Here's the 4th place race now. Jason Keller, Jamie McMurray. Remember that 57 car ran out of gas at Charlotte, tried to stretch the fuel a couple of races ago. Cost him a chunk of points to Biffle. Will the tide be turned today? We talked to
Biffle's on pit road. The championship leader is on pit road. Coming to you, Marty.
Yeah, BP, and remember we talked about how the right front was really giving up on Biffle's car. He was screaming for some right side tires, but with 13 laps to go, now 12 laps to go, that's just not enough time to take these right side tires, take a chance, lose a lot of track position. It will be 2 seconds of fuel for Greg Biffle. Tim Coffey, the gas man, puts it in, 1, 2, there they go. Now he can make it the rest of the way on fuel.
Shane Meal is also on pit road, and here's that race again. Now for 3rd place, McMurray in the 27. Try to make a run to the front late. Got the spot. Well, maybe.
He's got it.
Another nice job for Jamie McMurray. Well, you could just see the confidence in this kid's driving, too.
That win in the Winston Cup race at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte certainly didn't hurt anything.
All right. Nemechek, McLaughlin.
Joe's got his eyes glued to that fuel pressure gauge right now. He is watching that gauge because that's going to tell him if he's running low.
Here and Jason Keller should be coming to pit road for a splash of fuel. Larry Foyt out of fuel. And here comes Keller.
It's a huge break for, is the 14 car going to make it back? I guess he is. But the 57 car having to stop for fuel is a huge break for Biffle, Matt.
Sure is, Benny. Here he comes into his pit stall. They only need about 2.5 seconds of fuel. 1,001, 1,002. Kennedy He almost stalls the car. The guys are ready to push him off if he needed to. Benny?
Now then, let's see where he and Biffle come out in relationship to each other.
Well, Biffle was ahead of him before.
And there he goes. Yes, he's still going to continue to be in front of him.
Well by him. Michael Waltrip is back up to third. Biffle, well, we'll check it next time they come by. See where Keller cycles out after the pit stops. Larry Foy did make it around to pit road, by the way.
Nemechek completes another lap.
Shane Meal is back in, or is on pit road. Was he just in?
Got a right front.
Yeah, he was
right
just
front's
in.
down. Looks like he hit the wall there.
Yep. That's too bad. Good run come to an end.
Oh, Smith goes pits. Got to back up, almost ran over the tire changer block here.
There you go.
Jerry Kenner.
That's too bad. All right.
McLaughlin is off the racetrack. He's on the pit road.
Mike moved up to second spot. Now he's in. That's puts Michael Waltrip back up to third. McMurray to second behind Nemechek. Marty.
Yeah, they really thought they could make it all the way, and he's kind of got to dodge as you see some of the teams trying to get their cars fired on pit road. He's got to dodge some of these guys and all the pit crew members. They thought they could make it all the way, and then Tim Shutt, the crew chief, said, we just can't chance it. In fact, the car is out. No, it's not. It is running, so they get a little bit of fuel in, and there he goes.
That was a very little bit of fuel as Joe Nemechek goes by, makes another lap.
And goes by slowly.
Yeah, Joe is running about half throttle right now.
He's got a 6-second lead on McMurray. 14 seconds on Michael Waltrip.
And he's out of gas. Is he? He's out of gas, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not going to make it to the white flag, I don't think.
Stay on the racetrack.
All right, where's Michael Waltrip?
Where's
Stay on the
McMurray?
racetrack.
Yeah, McMurray is second.
McMurray's
right now.
second.
Well, I'm looking for Michael, too, because Michael was closing in on McMurray, I thought. White flag is up.
Jimmy McMurray is right there.
Here comes McMurray. There's your leader. 1 lap to go. Dave.
And Jamie McMurray stopped exactly 1 lap after Joe Nemechek did to top off. That's the only lap he may need.
Watching to see if he makes it back around under power. Jamie McMurray has never won a NASCAR Busch Series race. That would be the first lap he led all day at the white flag. Does the fuel hold up? He's got it. Checkered flag for Jamie McMurray. He steals the win away in the Aaron's 312 at Atlanta.
And that lap may have been all that, you know, Joe came in at 1 lap. Could have been it.
And Joe Nemechek, still on the racetrack, has not completed all these laps.
Well, he's still on the lead lap. If he can coast it all the way back around to the start-finish line, he'll finish at least 7th.
Now he needs to cross the line. He's on pit road, but he needs to come all the way down pit road, all the way down pit road to the start-finish line.
Brian Patty talking to him there on the radio. And
Okay.
checkered flag. Nemechek will finish 6th. How about Jamie McMurray? A couple of weeks after his first NASCAR Winston Cup win, he gets his first NASCAR Busch Series win for Clarence Brewer in that 2017.
Tell you what, for Clarence and all those guys could not have come at a better time because looking for sponsorship for this 27 car next year. And it's obviously a pretty good race car.
You know what? I don't know about that motor right now, BP, because it's not running at the moment.
I think he's out of gas. I think he's out of fuel.
No surprise. Dave?
Jason Ratcliffe looks a little bit stunned here. Jason, how about winning this thing on gas mileage with just 1 lap to go?
Well, it's incredible. I tell you, we had a lot of bad luck in the pits, and that second run, Jamie just drove the wheels off of it, kept us on the lead lap. And we've been wanting to win one on fuel mileage, but we had an awesome race car too. These guys put a great race car on the racetrack, and the Williams Travel Center team. It's just an honor for me to work for them, and just want to thank God. Jeff Purvis showed up this week, and he's our good luck charm. and I'm going to bring him next week, even if he doesn't want to come.
That's great. Hey, did you think about stopping when Joe Nemechek stopped and then told him at the last minute to stay out until the final lap?
No, we came to win. I mean, if we'd have ran out, yeah, we'd have finished, I don't know who were, you know, but we came to win. We needed this bad. These guys needed it. Nobody works harder than they do. And we only got 3 left. We had to do something.
Okay, you know where victory lane is, Jason? The car went that way, so go celebrate, my friend.
Thank you, bud.
Jason Ratcliffe, crew chief on the 27 car for Jamie McMurray.
And guys in the Busch garage here tell me that Jason is a very talented young man.
Jamie McMurray becomes the 100th driver in NASCAR Busch Series history to score a victory. 6th different first-time winner this season. Marty.
The new golden boy of NASCAR. I introduce to you Jamie McMurray. How about that? Can you give me some of your magic, please? Can you just share it a little bit?
I just got so much luck on our side right now. We had really bad pit stops at the beginning.
There is Jason Radcliffe. Very nice.
Took a gamble on fuel, and our car just got better. They adjusted on it the whole time, and it just kept getting better every time. So really happy. I mean, you don't ever want to win that way, but we had a pretty good car. We were going to the top 5, I felt like, anyway, but 99 car was awful fast all day. I mean, we had nothing for him. We were about a 7th place car, but a lot of luck involved in this, and we had some today.
Did the fuel gauge fluctuate at all, and were you watching it on those last few laps? I'm sure. What were you watching the racetrack, and how much was on the fuel gauge?
Just trying to be really smooth on the gas and off the gas, and trying to conserve a little bit, but not really. I mean, they told me I could make it, but I was going to do a better burnout, but I ran out of gas over there. So really happy for Williams Travel Centers, though. They're not coming back next year, and this is great for them. They deserve it.
All right, and now you can go win your Winston Cup car tomorrow, right?
Now, look, I learned this.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't thank the car manufacturer when I won the Cup race.
There you go.
Thank you, Chevrolet.
Very good, very good. Jamie McMurray in victory lane, a hug from his girlfriend, Cielo, and lots of guys celebrating.
Here are the NASCAR Busch Series Championship standings. Now 3 races to go. Jason Keller losing about 14 points to Greg Biffle today. On to Rockingham next Saturday for the championship duo. The Aaron's 312 today. All kinds of characters, both on the racetrack and in the grandstand. Couple of wild moments early in the race, but all in all, a safe day. Michael Waltrip dominated, but Jamie McMurray took the victory on fuel mileage.
Next week's race from the Busch Series is the Bashans 200. Don't miss it.